Hello and welcome to Inside News. Today we are going to talk about economic growth. My name is Idham. One of nation's economic issues is unstable economic growth. Labor productivity in Malaysia is significantly higher than the neighboring countries. Basically, the main economy in Malaysia is from oil and gas sector. It is contribute about 5% of the government revenue. Instability of economic tends to reduce confidence and leads to lower investment, lower growth, and higher unemployment. Economic instability can be caused by changing commodity prices, especially oil. In April, oil price fell because of the new concern over excess storage capacity, which limited the demand due to the movement restriction and travel control. Other business such as SME also affected by the pandemic. The slowdown in Q1 of 2020 will come mainly from the COVID-19 outbreak. The Malaysian Institute of Economic Research said that Malaysian gross domestic product may be shrink by about 2.9% in 2020 compared to 2019 and causing an estimate of 2.4 million people to lose their job. So now, let's go live to Nur, who is in Bangi Selangor, to talk about summary of economic growth.
Thank you, Idham. Hi, I'm Nur, reporting live from Bangi. So today I'm going to share to all of you guys about the summary of the current economic growth in Malaysia. Due to this pandemic period, our country has suffered a lot economically. So many people lost their jobs that causes them to have lack of money and income. Facts stated that Malaysia is a developing economy in Asia, which in recent years successfully transformed from an exporter of raw materials into a diversified economy. The largest sector of the economy is services, accounting for around 54% of GDP. Manufacturing sector has been growing in recent years and now accounts for 25% of GDP and more than 60% of total exports. Malaysia's economy grew by 3.6% year on year in the fourth quarter of 2019, easing from a 4.4% expansion in the previous 3-month period and missing market expectation of 4.2% of GDP. This was the weakest GDP growth rate since the third quarter of 2009, due mainly to a contraction in palm oil, crude oil and natural gas output, and a 3.1% fall in exports amid global trade tension. Also, fixed investment continued to decline. Lastly, Malaysia's economy grew by 0.7% year on year in the first quarter of 2020, the weakest pace of expansion since the third quarter of 2009, and compared with market expectation of 1.5% contraction, reflecting the negative impact of measures taken both globally and domestically to contain the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. Household consumption rose at a softer 6.7%, while fixed investment tumbled 4.6%. In addition, net external demand contributed negatively to the GDP as both exports and imports fell sharply. That's all from me. I'm Nur, reporting for Inside News. Back to you, Idham.
Thank you, Nur. Now, let's go live to Eishmah, who is in Putrajaya, to talk about causes of having unstable economic growth.
Thank you, Ilham. Here live with me, Eishmah, in Putrajaya. I will talk about the causes that cause the unstable economy in Malaysia. So first of all, it's because of the strong demand pressure. This comes from the increasing amount of investment and consumption that have raised the external account deficit in Malaysia. This has put pressure on domestic prices. And as Bank Negara Malaysia stated in the Economy and Monetary Review 2019, the GDP growth in Malaysia is projected to be in between -2.0 to 0.5% on 2020. This is because of my second point, which is the coronavirus disease, also known as COVID-19. COVID-19 is the global health crisis that has weakened global prospects. The domestic actions taken to contain the outbreak, such as movement control order, has affected our country and other countries as well, such as the social and recreational activities will be reduced until the pandemic is fully controlled. The domestic economy will be affected by sharp decline and unpredictable shifts in crude oil prices and continued supply disruption in commodities sector. Travel restriction and risk will also be affecting our economy. And my last point would be the increase in domestic prices. This is the result of rising costs of imported goods. The rise of consumer prices caused real household income and wages to fall. That's all from me, Eishmah. Thank you. Back to you, Idham.
Thank you, Eishmah. Now, let's go live to Syafia, who is in Kota Baru, Kelantan, to talk about effect of having this type of economic growth.
So thank you, Idham. And I am Nur Syafia binti Mohd Sari, live from Kelantan. So back to our topic, I'm going to report on what are the effect of having unstable economic growth in Malaysia. The changes in economic growth years by years will affect the standard of living of the Malaysians. This will widen the gap in real income distribution between the gainers and the losers. Other than that, if Malaysia is having the increment in economic growth, the living costs will be reducing. Thus, people will spend more and increase their standard of living. Also, the national income will be increasing too. The saver will get a benefit to increase their saving as they only have to pay for the lower cost. However, Malaysia is currently facing pandemic COVID-19. Due to that, the standard of living is currently decreasing because even though the cost of living remain unchanged, some of the Malaysia's income are affected by RMO, Restricted Movement Order. Last but not least, instability economic growth will lead to inflation and deflation. Inflation is a situation when demand is higher than supply of goods and services. The cost of living will be increasing because there is a shortage in supply. The businessman, investor, and property owner are taking advantages by increasing their product price. People will spend less and the standard of living will reduce. Meanwhile, deflation is a situation when demand is lower than a supply of goods and services. Due to excess supply, the cost of living will be reducing and people will buy more and the standard of living will be increasing too. So I guess that's all from me. Thank you for listening and we are back to Idham. Bye.
Thank you, Syafia. Now, let's go live to Diyana, who is in Temerloh Pahang, to talk about steps taken by authority in Malaysia to increase our economic growth rates.
Thank you, Idham. Now with me, Diyana, I'm going to talk about steps taken by authority to increase economic growth. Firstly, the government needs to increase production of commodity and export products. For example, government can use modern technology to generate and increase production. In addition, government can diversify their economic resources and not focus on just one type of commodity by seeking export markets in regional and global countries. Secondly, the government needs to control the currency and the exchange rate. This can be controlled by reducing the recruitment of foreign workers and preventing people from saving money abroad through legislative act and policy, thus avoiding currency trading in the open market. Thirdly, the government also needs to develop a short and long-term plan, that is the master plan for competitive government spending. This can increase the flow of money within the country. The government should also encourage people to shop and buy local goods by controlling price of goods. The government can incentivize the people and reduce interest rate. Lastly, the government can reduce imports of food and essentials. Importing foreign goods will increase government spending and deficit. The government can run a campaign encouraging people to buy local goods. If the government raises tax on imported goods and price will be expensive, then the people will buy less imported goods. Thank you, Idham. Back to the studio.
Thank you, Diyana. It is true that economic growth does not ensure any development. Hardly any development can be sustained without economic growth. Therefore, in order to catch up with developed nations, developing and emerging countries need to achieve and sustain higher than the average economic growth rates. Let's conclude our news today. I and all Inside News team wish you a wonderful day. See you again and